And so, the streets of Mogadishu fell silent once more. Heroes fought, lives were lost, and history was written in blood and courage. Yet in the chaos of war, one question remains. Was it all worth it? For the men who ran into the fire, for the fallen who never returned, and for a nation still fractured, the answers may never come. But their bravery, their sacrifice, will echo forever. In Somalia, 1992, famine and civil war have gripped the country, resulting in over 300,000 civilian deaths due to starvation, and a huge United Nations peacekeeping operation of 20,000 soldiers. Mohamed Farah Aidid, self-proclaimed president of the country. Aidid and his forces capture food shipments at the borders and uses hunger as a weapon against his own population. In April 1993, with the bulk of the peacekeepers withdrawn, the Somali militia have declared war on the remaining UN personnel. In June, Aidid's forces slaughter 24 Pakistani soldiers and begin targeting American personnel. In response, in August 1993, United States Army Rangers, Delta Force and 160th SOAR, code-named Night Stalkers, is deployed to Mogadishu, Somalia to capture Mohamed Farah Aidid. The mission was to take 3 weeks, but 6 weeks later Washington is getting impatient. Aidid has his base in Bakara Market in Mogadishu. Outside Mogadishu, Rangers and Delta Force operatives capture Osman Ali Atto, George Harris, a warlord selling arms to the militia of Aidid. Atto tells General Garrison that US is meddling in a Somalian civil war, which is an internal matter. The US Army is stationed at the Mogadishu airport. Captain Steele of the Rangers considers Delta boys such as FC Jeff Sanderson, William Fichtner, Gibson and MSG Chris Wex, Kim Coates, as undisciplined cowboys with no regards to rules and protocol. The US forces include experienced men as well as new recruits, including PFC Todd Blackburn, Orlando Bloom. When his LT John Beals, Yohan Griffith, is removed from duty as the result of a seizure, Staff Sergeant Matthew Eversman, Josh Hartnett, is placed in command of Ranger Chalk 4, his first command. Beals is put on a flight back home. SFC Norm Hoot Gibson, Eric Bana, is working deep undercover in Mogadishu to provide intel for the US forces to plan their missions. Shortly thereafter, a mission is planned to capture Omar Salad Elmi and Abdi Hassan Awale Kabdied, 2 of Aidid's top advisors. Garrison receives confirmation from 3 sources that Elmi and Awale are in Bakara Market area on October 3, 1993. Garrison requests light armored helicopters for the mission, but they are considered too high-profile targets and the team is assigned Black Hawks and AH-6J Little Birds for air cover. SEAL Thomas Matthews, Glenn Morshower, will lead the entire air assault team. Danny McKnight knows that this is an ill-planned mission, conducted in daylight without proper air cover. But Garrison argues that he does not choose the time and location of the enemy's meetings. Eversman prepares his squad including SPC John Grimes, Zeke Grimes, Ewan McGregor, a desk clerk going on his first mission as replacement for an injured gunner, SPC Sean Nelson, Ewan Bremner, and so on. Grimes is told not to take water or night vision equipment as it is a day mission that is expected to last only 30 minutes. One soldier removes their bulletproof backplate armor to lighten their load. Other loads up on ammunition. One soldier tapes their blood type to their boots. SFC Randy Sugart, Johnny Strong, calls home before leaving for the mission. The target area is 3 miles from the airport. Yusuf Dahir Emoalam Razakadoti is the main commander of Aidid's militia. His informants told him about the attack the minute the helicopters took off from the airport. He prepares his army for the attack. By the time the helicopters reach the target area, Emoalam's militia are ready for an ambush. The first US troops hit the ground at 3:42 p.m. The operation is launched and Delta Force successfully captures Aidid's advisors inside the target building, but the Rangers and helicopters escorting the ground extraction convoy take heavy fire, while SGT Eversman's Chalk 4 is dropped a block away by mistake. When Blackburn is severely injured after falling from one of the Black Hawk helicopters, 3 Humvees led by SGT Jeff Strucker, Brian Van Holt, are detached from the convoy to return Blackburn and the captured advisors to the UN-held Mogadishu airport. The Dominic Pilla, Danny Hawk, a gunner on the Humvee, is shot and killed just as Strucker's column gets underway. Shortly thereafter, Black Hawk Super 6-1, piloted by CWO Clifton Elvis Walcott, Jeremy Piven, is shot down by a rocket-propelled grenade, RPG. and crashes deep within the city. The call "Black Hawk Down" goes over all the radio frequencies connecting the teams. Both pilots are killed, the 2 crew chiefs are wounded, and 1 Delta sniper on board escapes in another helo that makes it back to base. Eversman and his squad are ordered to reach the Super 6-1 crash site and set up a defensive perimeter around the helicopter. The ground forces are rerouted to converge on the crash site. The Humvees transfer the prisoners to a transport truck and the armed forces head to the Super 6-1 site. The Somali militia throw up roadblocks, causing LTC Danny McKnight's, Tom Sizemore, Humvee column to lose its way, while sustaining heavy casualties. The transport trucks in the convoy with the Humvees are also struck by RPG fire and many of the prisoners are killed. Meanwhile, 2 Ranger Chalks, including Eversman's unit, reach Super 6-1's crash site, setting up a defensive perimeter to await evacuation with the 2 wounded men and the fallen pilots. Super 6-8 manages to drop some reinforcements over the Super 6-1 crash site and barely escapes RPG attack. United States Air Force Pararescue TE Timothy A. Wilkinson, Ty Burrell, and Pararescue ME Scott C. Fails, Dan Woods, get into Super 6-1 and determine that moving the injured is going to be fatal. In the interim, Super 6-4, piloted by CWO Michael Durant, Ron Eldard, is also shot down by an RPG, crashing several blocks away. With CPT Mike Steele's Jason Isaacs, Rangers pinned down and sustaining heavy casualties, no ground forces can reach Super 6-4's crash site, nor reinforce the Rangers defending Super 6-1. Delta Sanderson has serious disagreements with Steele's battle situation awareness and his leadership on the ground. Sanderson takes control of the unit from Steele and makes a plan to get them to safety. 2 Delta snipers, SFC Randy Sugart, Johnny Strong, and MSG Gary Gordon, Nikolai Costerwaldo, are inserted by helicopter to Super 6-4's crash site, where they find Durant still alive. The Delta snipers were told that the ground relief column might take a lot of time to reach them. Gibson's Humvee column back at the base is sent back into town to the Super 6-4 crash site. The crash site is eventually overrun, Gordon and Sugart are killed, and Durant is captured and taken to Aided. Meanwhile, Nelson and SPC Lance Twombly, Tom Hardy, were left behind at the original target building, but after a while they feel they have been forgotten. They fight their way to Super 6-1. They find SPC Mike Kurth, Gabriel Cassius, on the way. Sanderson leads a team of Deltas to Super 6-1's crash site. McKnight's column gives up the attempt to reach 6-1's crash site and returns to base with their surviving prisoners and the casualties at 4:54 p.m. The men prepare to go back to extract the pinned-down Rangers and the fallen pilots. MG Garrison, Sam Shepard, orders the 10th Mountain Division, including Malaysian and Pakistani forces with their tanks and their APCs, to mobilize as a relief column. Gibson exits the relief Humvees as their routes are blocked and proceeds to Super 6-1 site on foot with a few other soldiers. Nelson, Twombly and Kurth reach the Super 6-1 site and link up with Eversman. As night falls, the Somali militia launch a sustained assault on the trapped Americans at Super 6-1's crash site. The militia is held off throughout the night by strafing runs and rocket attacks from AH-6J Little Bird helicopter gunships of the Night Stalkers, until the 10th Mountain Division's relief column is able to reach the site. The wounded and casualties are evacuated in the vehicles, but a handful of remaining Army Rangers and Delta Force operatives are forced to run from the crash site back to the stadium, in the UN safe zone. The closing credits detail the results of the raid. 19 American soldiers were killed with over 1,000 Somalis dead. Durant was released after 11 days of captivity. Delta snipers Gordon and Sugart were the first soldiers to be posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor since the Vietnam War. On August 2, 1996, Aided was killed in a battle with a rival clan. General Garrison retired the following day.